So I didn't grow up in church. I went to church on Christmas and Easter. My parents would take me there sometimes, but I definitely didn't have any concept or preconceived notions of what church was. I was just another 20-something-year-old chasing after girls and trying to find, the next job. So I finally met this girl named Sarah, and she was different. She wasn't like the others. I had just got out of a really, probably one of the darkest times in my life of, doing things I never thought I would do. Literally right after that, I ended up meeting Sarah, and she was such a light. She was clearly different from anyone I'd ever met. Certainly any girl I'd ever met. I asked for her phone number immediately, and I think she was taken aback by that. She'd never had that much of an interest from a guy before. So I had that going for me.
I mean, on our first, so I gave him my number, and which is really weird because I've never actually, I don't remember ever giving my number to any guy ever. And I kind of just walked away from this conversation at the gym being like, oh my God, what did I just do? Why did I even do that? He might be a psycho, you don't know. Basically, we met at Sam Sato's maybe a week later, or a week and a half later or whatever. And, we were just kind of talking, and I guess when I walked away from him, it was kind of like, why invest your time in somebody that you don't know shares the same, faith and values as you do?
So I found out she was Christian, and that's never happened to me before. I didn't know what that meant, or I didn't know what that was going to mean. I guess at the time, if I knew what that was going to lead to, maybe I wouldn't have kept going out with her, but I knew though, even at that moment, the first time we went out to lunch, that I was going to really get to know her, and I was going to be committed. Even though she actually did later on tell me that she wasn't interested, that she wasn't looking to go out with anyone at that time.
I don't know, he made some silly comment or whatever, kind of trying to play it off, and I sort of elaborated actually more than once, kind of, as to why, and just saying my faith is very important to me, and, just communicating that I didn't want to start anything with somebody who didn't share the same beliefs. So it was definitely like friend-zoned by Jesus, if you will.
I eventually found out that what I saw in her, the same thing that drew me to her, was God. I didn't find that out till a little bit later, when I actually did choose to go to church on my own.
So, but I consciously remember making the choice that I was never going to invite him to church, which sounds horrible, but I was so adamant, and I would tell him all the time that, Christ isn't something that I've seen it happen 1,000 times, or a guy or a girl will come to church for somebody else, and it just ends up being a total disaster. And I was like, I have no problem with you coming to church if you want, but I wasn't going to be the one to push in any direction. That's a decision that he would have had to make for himself.
It was after a couple months of kind of seeing each other and going out that I finally made the decision to go to church. And it was different. It wasn't what I expected. I don't know if I had any expectations really, but it was something I was completely open to, and that my heart was open to.
And I remember complaining to my mom, and I said, I'm never going to be able to meet somebody, and the only way I'm ever going to even be able to have time for a relationship is, it literally is if he comes to the same church, and even if he does, and at this point God's house was 10 people, and if he comes to the same church, and not even that, but he has to be in the same ministry, because it's it's a lot. It's a very high demand on your time, and yeah, God made me eat my words hard.
So insert me. And then I helped. I got involved with the media team, and I do my own photography and video editing and things like that. So I got heavily involved in that stuff. And so she was doing the graphics, and then I did the video. So then we got to work with each other a lot. Gave me an excuse to talk to her more and hang around her a lot.
I couldn't understand why God allowed this, to happen. Like, shouldn't, this relationship be easy and all of that kind of stuff. And so it really did cause for me, it caused a very long period of just like, I'm not even close to God. I'm not anywhere close to who God wants me to be. I can't reach out to other people because I'm just in such a bad place and I'm in this mess. It just really kind of made me feel like I just wanted to give up. Like, why even live this life this way? Like, why can't I just do what I want?
I felt solely responsible for a lot of what she was feeling and going through, and I wasn't sure if she was going to talk to me again. I wasn't sure if we were going to be the same. I knew I made a lot of mistakes and a lot of poor choices, and it did have to take a really good look as to whether I was going to stick it out or if I was going to, try to be with Sarah and try to make things work. And not only even just be with Sarah, but whether I was going to do this thing with God.
I will always say it was the grace of God that pushed us forward, and I think that's true. But there does come a point, I think, in everybody's life where it's like you're in the worst place that you have ever been in or you could possibly be, and you decide, are you going to stay there and just kind of fade out and forget about God because everything is difficult? Or, are you going to get back up again? Even if it's the 7th time, the 8th time, the 9th time, are you going to keep on getting back up to be that movement of God? Even if you're not a perfect person, because God never used perfect people.
I knew that with what had happened between Sarah and I had to look at it, accept it, and address it. And that wasn't easy, but it wasn't impossible. And I knew that that was the only way I was going to move forward and pick myself back up and continue moving and to walk again. And I don't want to just walk. I want to run. And that's the kind of moving that I want to do. I want to be able to run. I want to run to where I'm going, and I want to help others run to where they're going. I don't want them to sit down and wallow in their own self-pity. I want to be able to empower people. I want to be that, move of God.
We always think that in order to reach people or in order to make a difference, you have to be perfect. But like I said, God doesn't use perfect people because there are none, so that helps. But I think the main thing is that you allow yourself to keep on going. As long as, it literally doesn't matter what kind of mistakes you did. Look at David. He committed adultery and he murdered somebody, Yet God called him a man after his own heart. And how many times in our lives have we done things that we feel are like irreparable or just too far gone? And so my one encouragement really is just, you can stop, you can falter, you can fail, you can stumble. Just keep moving, just keep going, whatever that looks like, even if it's just an inch in one day, because God is faithful. God is faithful to take just the little that you can even muster as a human being, and he will take that and say, okay, I'm going to use this. So whatever it is that you can give to God, as long as you're giving it from your heart and out of sincerity, that'll be enough to get you to where you need to go to fulfill your destiny and to be a one-person movement.
My name is Sugidono.
My name is Sara Asato, and we are both a one-person movement.